What is going on, everybody? It is your boy John, and welcome back to Gearbox. Now, elephant in the room here is I am sorry I have not been uploading. During the fall, brother plays at Clemson. We're away every weekend, getting back late on Sundays, going straight to work, all that sort of stuff. Just haven't had the time, unfortunately. But guess what? Clemson lost, and now I'm back on it. So, anyway, definitely a couple things we need to talk about. Exciting things, good things. But it will probably have to be over the span of at least 2 videos. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, which is car related, is that your boy got a blow-off valve. Now, I know I had mentioned this in the past. So what I ended up going with is the HKS SuperSequential blow-off valve. And I had it installed and tuned by SD Racing here in Greenville, South Carolina. Now, for those of you who are maybe looking into blow-off valves, don't know what all it entails and that sort of stuff, I'm just going to kind of talk through that a little bit, because to be honest with you, until I really, sat down and really looked into it and tried to pay attention, it didn't really make much sense. So, essentially, let's start off with what is a blow-off valve, what does it do? So when you hear, you're going on the throttle, actually, let me demonstrate that right here. On the throttle, you let off and it goes, that squeak. Essentially what that is doing is releasing the excess gas in between the throttle body, essentially. So, what it's trying to do is, eliminate that air, because when you get back on the throttle, it creates a little bit of lag, and you don't have as good a throttle response, essentially. Now, I'm sure there are people out there who could explain it way better than me, but honestly, explaining it kind of stupid to people who don't understand maybe works better. I don't know. So essentially, that's what it's doing. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, why don't the cars come like that? If it makes performance better and whatnot, why don't the manufacturers put them on there? And that's a very fair and great question. The answer is they do. They just put shittier versions of it on, I guess. So when you are installing the blow-off valve, which I did not do, but I did help them a little bit, you have to remove the OEM blow-off valve or whatever, which basically the difference between the two, and these are the 2 types of blow-off valves. You have a recirculating blow-off valve, and you have an atmospheric blow-off valve. So what are the differences between those 2? Recirculating, as you can imagine, is going to recirculate the air that it blows off back into the air intake. So that way it is able to essentially, the blow-off valve happens after the MAF sensor, so dealing with all of your air-fuel ratios. When you blow off to recirculate, it's saying, hey, I want to blow off this excess air that's stuck between the throttle body, but because it's already accounted for in the MAF sensor, I want it to still be there and still be accurate. So it just recirculates it right back to, where it will be coming from once you get back on the throttle. Now, after hearing that horrible explanation, you might be able to understand an atmospheric blow-off valve. So, unlike a recirculating, it's not going to sit there and send it back into the air intake, but instead it's going to send it out to the atmosphere inside the engine bay. Now, the reason why I was not able to install the blow-off valve, and it becomes a little more involved, I guess, is when installing atmospheric blow-off valves, you essentially have to get it tuned right away. And the reason being is, as I said, the recirculating blow-off valve, all of the air that it's calculated out with the air-fuel ratio, it's still there. It's just in different spots. With an atmospheric, however, you know, you're sucking in all this air, you let it go, if you can even hear that. You let it go and hear that, you know, squeak of air, if you will. Well, now, you know, the car thinks it has all this air, so it's dumping fuel, dumping fuel, dumping fuel. But once you let off the throttle and it's blowing it off, it's running way rich, which is going to burn up your cats and cause other issues, because it doesn't have the air needed to create that air-fuel ratio. So essentially the reason you have to get it tuned is to make adjustments for when you let off the throttle. You know, what is the air-fuel ratio going to be? What's the timing going to be? So on and so forth. Insert other tuning terms here. But needless to say, it's way the hell above my pay grade. And it has to be done. I mean, your car would not run. It would run horribly, and you're going to do more harm than good by trying to, you know, put it on and limp over to a tuning shop or something. Just don't do it. Pay the money to get it installed and get it installed correctly, because to be honest, you're kind of going to be SOL if it's not. So anyway, that's kind of the backstory there. And like I said, I went to SD Racing here in Greenville, South Carolina. If you are a Subaru guy, which I'm assuming most of you probably are, definitely check out SD Racing here in Greenville, South Carolina. They claim to be the only, or I guess the only, four-wheel drive dyno in like the upstate. So needless to say, a lot of people are going to be coming their way if that is the case. And they were great people on top of that. They took my car for, I think I dropped it off at maybe 9 in the morning, and it was ready by 4 p.m. And they do all different types of cars, but they do kind of specialize in Subaru because of the four-wheel dyno. And they also do all sorts of installations, you know, blow-off valves, just regular tunes. If you don't want an off-the-shelf and you want a ProTune, they do that. Flex fuel kits, supercharger, you know, all of that sort of stuff is really in their wheelhouse over at SD Racing. But like I said, you know, I dropped it off, had great communication with them. They worked on it, and it's run flawlessly ever since. And to be honest, guys, I absolutely love it. The tune, I think we picked up 20 or 30 more horsepower, so now we're sitting at about 325, I think. And I mean, we have the turbo noises, so how can you argue that? And to be honest with you guys, sure, the performance benefits of having a blow-off valve are great, and they're not going to hurt the car, but I got it because it sounds sick, okay? And on top of that, the tune makes my car pop a hell of a lot more, which is awesome. It's not going to pop right there when I need it to, but it's freaking sick. Anyway, guys, I know I'm kind of rambling at this point, but I'm telling you, check out SD Racing. Even if you're maybe from North Carolina, you're from Georgia, something like that, I'd 100% recommend. They do actually have a Facebook page that they post these little video, you know, YouTube videos of, you know, the cars are doing and stuff there. Just give them a call, see what their thoughts are. To be honest with you, the pricing is amazing as well. So I think out the door with both the tune and the install for the blow-off valve, I think I was maybe sitting at $900. Now I know to some of you, maybe younger folks who aren't working or, you know, whatever the case may be, you're like, dude, that's a lot of money. Like, I can't be doing that shit. Just save up every paycheck or whatever. Stash a little bit aside for it. You know, I had that blow-off valve sitting in my garage for probably 5 months because of the same crap. But you just, at some point, you find the funds and you have the ability to do it. Obviously, don't overextend yourself, but you know, it's definitely worth it. And regardless, even just getting a ProTune, I can't really put into words just the drivability after getting that ProTune is phenomenal. And I would have never thought that. You know, you get these cob access ports. That's what everyone does in the Subaru world. Dude, the freaking way the car drives and just reacts with the ProTune versus the Stage 1 access port, it's not even comparable. I mean, you can just feel the power, you can feel it breathing, you know, you just feel that the car is more alive. And that's even after having that same feeling with the cob access port initially put on. So check it out. If you guys have any questions or, you know, want me to throw some insight into X, Y, and Z, just let me know down in the comments below. Definitely be sure to hit that subscribe button. Once again, I will be starting to ramp up the filming here, and hit the notification bell because you just want to see my pretty face whenever I upload a video. And I've just got so much information that I just can't keep it all to myself. So anyway, guys, I really appreciate you, you know, coming and joining me once again. It's been too freaking long. It's like a damn family reunion. But anyway, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, a great week ahead, and come back to Gearbox.